We'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Gangster Chronicles podcast. It's your boy Bigg Steele along with my guy.
Yeah.
And tonight, hey, you know, I don't throw that word legend around loosely, you know what I'm saying? I just don't tell everybody a legend. We got a legend in the house with us tonight, man, homeboy Julio G.
For sure.
Westside Radio.
Yes, indeed.
Westside Radio.
1580 K-Day.
Yeah,
Yes,
we bringing
Take
it
it all the way
live.
back. Thank you for having me, though. I appreciate it.
Oh, for sure, man.
Yeah, we go way back still, me and you and MC Eiht. MC
Yeah,
Eight's
for
my
sure.
guy, man.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about tonight.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to take this shit way, way back, man. When you was doing K-Day, did you ever picture the West Coast exploding like it did?
In the 80s, because like people confuse when you hear the word K-Day, they think of 93.5 K-Day. But you're talking about the original 1580 K-Day.
Yeah, the AM frequency.
Yeah, it was like, back then it was so early for us in the game that we were so young too. We were like, when I became a 1580 K-Day mixmaster, it was September of 1986. I was still 17. I was turning 18 in October. So I just got out of high school and I became a 1580 K-Day mixmaster, something that I wanted to be because I grew up listening to them on the radio. The other DJs, M-Wog, Joe Cooley, Tony G, Jammin' Gemini. So I eventually was lucky enough to become the 5th mixmaster at that time. But we were so young and we were just having fun DJing and just creating. And it was new. And we were kind of like, we were building it out, what is hip hop? What is what? You know what I mean? And all these, then a lot of people when they hear radio today don't really understand that it's pretty much 1580 K-Day where you got all that from. A lot of people don't even know that they're doing things that we invented at the time.
Yeah,
so it was like we didn't know like hip hop was gonna be like big like that. But we were so young, we was just trying to make money and mess with girls and be the best and be dope. Because it was really about, back then it wasn't really about how much money you had. It was really how dope you were. That's really what it was about. We all wanted to be dope. You know what I mean? And when I remember when Joe Cooley, we used to record all our mixes on Wednesday nights at 1580 K-Day. So we would do like the Saturday show, the Mixmaster show, because we usually had a DJ, so we couldn't be doing it live on Saturday nights. We all had gigs, so we started record on Wednesdays. So we would record like the traffic jams, and then the Saturday night Mixmaster show. And I remember the night when Joe Cooley came in and he brought Everlasting Bass, and it was his picture, and it was me, N-Walk, me, Tony. We were just like, damn, Joe, you made it. Like we just thought it was like just to see his picture on the record.
Like on a 12-inch?
Yeah, 12-inch.
Man, come on.
We thought like, damn, Joe, and the way he had with the curl, with the finger wave and the glass, I mean, he just looked so dope. We was just like, we were hyped, man. We're like, it made us all want to find a rapper to work with, and that's how we all started to work with rappers.
I thought y'all was superstars just from the mixtapes, man.
Oh no, we were hood celebrities for sure.
M-Walk.
Oh yeah, M-Walk.
Crazy,
Joe Cooley.
man.
Oh, crazy, bro. M-Walk was ill, bro.
Who used to rap with him? Who used to be?
It was Master Rhyme and Romeo, and it was another. It was because they had that song Cracker Jack.
Man, his mixtapes and his scratching.
Oh, his scratching was ill, bro.
M-Walk was
he was crazy.
Man.
Compton, straight Compton right there. And it was funny, crazy you say that because we all had our own styles. I was just talking about this. All of us scratched different. We all wanted to be unique. And like you said, M-Walk, he was so vicious with his left. And he just had his own signature scratches. And he never wanted to be like Joe Cooley. Like he wanted to stay away from, we all did. We kind of let Joe was doing Joe. So we didn't want to like walk over. So we always wanted to like, we wanted to bring something, you know what I mean? So everybody was unique. And that's what made us so unique at the time, that we brought so much different styles to how we DJ.
Whose idea was it to start the Mix Masters at K-Day?
That was Greg Mack. Okay. That was his thing. He's responsible.
Shout out Greg Mack.
Greg Mack was the one that put it together. But he did that because he's watching. He came to LA. He was from Houston or Texas or something. I think it was Houston. And he came out here and he was watching with the Wrecking Crew and Uncle Jam's Army. And so he decided
Unknown DJ,
all them guys, So they had little groups. So he's like, he was on the radio, so he's like, I'm gonna create a group called Mac Attack mix masters. We always say the K-Day mix masters because people know that, but really it was the Mac Attack mix masters. And so the key thing for him is that he met Tony, because Tony is the one that really was like the guy that kind of like found us, like in that way. Like he knew who's dope. And you kind of had to get through him to like, he was kind of like, he found me, you know what I mean? So he's the one that put me on. And then we later on when we got Battle Cat and all this guy, you know what I mean? He had the ear for, and he was just so dope though. He was the best one of all of us. So he had the equipment. A lot of people didn't know that there wouldn't have been no dances if it wasn't for Tony. That was his speakers, his turntables, his lights, his mindset, because nobody knew how to do a little box that transmitted from Skateland USA in 86, 87, but he did. So somehow we were able to, through a phone line, go live on the air from dances. That's where everybody got that from. They got that from watching us do that. And you see that in the NWA movie when they go into Skateland. That's our dance. They don't tell you that, but that's a 1580 K-Day dance that they're talking about. That's where they used to come to Skateland USA, you know what I mean? So, because we played the World on Wheels for the Crips, and then we had to do Skateland for the Bloods. We had it was that crazy.
Exactly.
It was that crazy back then. Because they couldn't come, like if you wanted to have, if we had LL Cool J at World on Wheels, the bounty hunters can't go up there, you know, so they would miss out. So we had to go to their Skateland or Doodles or whatever, but you do Skateland, and then we give them. I remember Public Enemy, first time they played, it was at Skateland USA in front of all these Bloods. And they were sitting there looking at, back then, like, nobody had seen the S1W. We hadn't seen nothing like that. You know what I mean? They came out on the stage, and the whole place like, man, what is this? Like, it was all military, but it was dope. It was like, damn, this is hard. And so
you see a gang banging,
bro. But they loved it because they were like, "This shit hard, man. We ain't never seen a show like this. What is this?" Right? So that was I never forget that night when Public Enemy played Skateland. It was like,
it was hard, almost impossible to get up in that motherfucker back then. Dog.
Yeah. Well, you had to be from that neighborhood around there, bro. They wasn't letting you slide in. Skateland was not open like that.
Skateland was right by, Rosecrans and Central.
Yeah.
So that's the home of all the Blood homies and shit.
And then wasn't it Pyru Street was right there, wasn't
Gonzales Park was right over
right
there.
Bro. That was all their spot.
That was their neighborhood.
The homie Purvis Friday.
And Doodles was
right there, bro.
So all the concerts at Doodles and Skateland was for the Blood homies. And then you go to World on Wheels, and that's
they might let you in the World on Wheels where you could kind of slide in there from somewhere else. But one thing about Skateland and all that, you had to be from around. They wouldn't let you just slide up in there.
I'll tell you a story about that, man. The homeboy Purvis, we all played ball together. He said, I'm going to take y'all. We go to the skating rink, right? As soon as we walked up in that motherfucker, the homeboy got knocked out. I ain't going to say his name. I'm talking about slept by some grown dude that was on swole. Like, what y'all doing up here? And I'm from Ohio at the time. I don't know what the hell going on. I just know homeboy got knocked out and we wound up bounce. We picked the homie up like this and put him in the back seat to get home.
Yeah,
we was little kids, bro.
Yeah,
them places is all them places was definitely off out of bounds.
Yeah, and that's what people don't know. It's another thing that people don't really realize when you look back what we went through to bring you hip hop. Hip hop wasn't in Hollywood back then. We had to go to the hood. It was all hood. So. The most Hollywood closest thing was the Casa Camino Real because it was off Washington and the 110, but that was probably about as far close as you ever gonna get to Hollywood back then. It's like Skateland, Doodles, 321, just different little spots, but they used to be South Central, like just in the hood, dog. And the shit that we went through just to bring hip hop to the masses. Like, these kids today, they would have never survived. Homie.
That's when this shit was just a dream.
Yeah.
Did you think, because you were a little kid back then, I'm pretty sure you told your mom and dad, I'm going to go DJ.
Well, the thing about it is that before the DJing, my mom always knew I was going to do something in music because I was known for breakdancing and I've always been a B-boy, like hip-hop.
Right.
Before
popping and breaking.
That's how I met Cypress Hill. That's how we met in high school. We met in high school when I battled them. I met them and we battled each other and they were like, damn, this dude is like it. That's one thing I was very known for. And like B-Real, Sendog, they'll tell you, I was known for the breakdance. And I would battle people. I'd go do contests. I would do all types of shit. And so
that's something we did have a lot.
Oh, he loved
coming up. You had a lot of contests around the city.
Oh, yeah.
As far as popping and breaking.
Yeah, popping and breaking.
You had content at the malls, at like pizza places, everywhere.
Yeah.
Talent shows, everything, man. on your Sergio Tacchini sweatsuit.
Yep.
Me and the homeboy had a crew. We was popping, man. We go into all the talent shows, all the little contests.
Yeah.
That's right. That's before rap started
Yeah,
to break
for real.
here.
For real.
Yeah.
And that's why I was so into that. And then actually my mom, she actually drove me to like 2 contests because I couldn't drive. I couldn't go to like Huntington Park. I'm in Linwood. I couldn't go to Huntington Park. It's 2 cities over.
And you can't get on the bus.
I can't get on the bus. It's nighttime, you know what I mean? So my mom was like, hey, Mom, can you give me like a ride to there's this contest. My mom, man, she was so nice, man. God bless her, rest in peace. She okay, you know, like, I'll give you like 2 hours, but I have to go home. I can't be out all night, you know. So my mom will park the car and I'll be back, Mom. And I go in there and then I win $50 and I come back and I tell my mom, put gas in the car, Mom. And my mom's like, you won that? You won $50?
That was a lot of money back then.
It was back then, bro.
That was a lot of money back then. That was some
bro.
bread.
Yeah.
It was $50. Dog. One time I won $100.
You might as well have 50,000.
Yeah, bro. I never forget that. My mom was like, I was like, Mom, go fill up the tank. this bro. She was like, okay, Dad. So she didn't really know what I was doing, but as long as I wasn't doing street stuff in the hood and just it kept me out. My mom was always like, because man, I used to practice, bro. Like I used to be in the living room doing head spins, and my mom would be like, "You gonna break your neck, bro?" Like, I'm like, no. And I used to use like a record cover. And I would use that to spin on the put on the carpet, and I would sit there.
We would take the old pieces of linoleum.
Yeah, that too.
Like somebody's got their
The
kitchen done,
Yeah.
and then we take that old piece of linoleum, put it in the garage, and nigga be out there,
Getting
atomic
busy.
dropping, doing all kind of shit. Nigga. on straight cement shit.
Man, real talk, bro.
Like you
Getting
just
burnt
trying to
up
get
and little
in.
cuts and all kinds of stuff.
Trying
Just
to learn how to
trying to learn how to
nutcracker and windmill.
Yeah, bro.
Banging your forehead
Yeah, man.
up,
Man.
just everything. Man.
I went to school one time, bro, and they thought that my mom was hitting me because I used to do so many. Once I got the
They
windmill
thought she
shit
was at home
down.
getting abused.
Yeah, because when you used to do windmills, like
Yeah,
in
you
the
get the-
beginning, I would do cardboard, and when you do cardboard, you know, because I was doing off the head, I would get these
They
like
do the
marks.
rub burns,
Yeah,
like
rub
little
burns. They're like
burns.
burns.
Yeah.
So I used to have to use cocoa butter to kind of heal them
Uh-huh.
up. So I went to school one day, and they pulled me to the side.
Cause nigga didn't have no money to
No,
get no head.
no, exactly, bro. We didn't know that, no, man.
You about buy, can you go buy a nigga what?
What?
Man,
Yeah, man, I'm
that
trying to put
shit
food
like
on the
$3.
table.
I ain't got
nigga.
that,
You
bro.
fucking
Man,
crazy.
shit. We was just,
So,
yeah, it was fun,
yeah.
bro. But yeah, I remember one time I was like, oh, no, my mom don't hit me, man. No, that's just from breakdancing. And then I actually had to breakdance for them to show them why. I was at Southgate High School. And they were like, oh, damn. They actually put me in the high school yearbook because I was known for breakdancing in the school. Like I said, that's where I met Cypress Hill. We first started there. That's where we kind of started the thing. But we started all as B-boys.
And you responsible for actually hooking them dudes up, right?
Yeah, I introduced Muggs. I met Muggs, I want to say it was my senior year. I met him in Southgate through another friend named Joe. And he came, and I used to practice at this place called the Capri. It's actually still there. It's like like a Mexican spot where they do like Mexican banda stuff. And so I used to play there on Sundays because the equipment I was using had gotten stolen. So I didn't have nowhere to practice. I didn't have turntables back then. It was like, I didn't get 1200, so like I like into 1580K day. It was just, it was expensive though. We didn't have it. It was crazy to get equipment. So they would let me go there, and I would I would DJ from 8 to 10 just to practice on their stuff. And so that would be my little 1 week practice that I can get in because I was really trying to be a DJ, but I didn't have the equipment anymore. And so my friend Joe comes and he says, hey, this guy, it wasn't a lot of people that night there. And so he says, there's this guy that he wants to battle you. And I'm like, man, what? Okay. I was always into battling, you know. I didn't care. It was fun. That was part of the process, actually. And so I think I put on Planet Rock, and I started cutting up Planet Rock. And then Joe came and goes, no, he doesn't want to battle you no more, man. He just wants to meet you. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I went outside and I met DJ Muggs, and that's how I met him. And then we kicked it off from the beginning, me and him, because and a lot of people don't know this. Muggs was a very good break dancer too. He used to go and tour around the world. Like he was very known for that too. So we clicked off because of that. Because I come from the breakdance world, you know. And then we met, we talked, and then I told him. He said, "Man, I just came from the Philippines. I think it was the Philippines, and I used that money to buy 2 turntables and a mixer." And so he says, "I said, oh damn, so you got some equipment? Like, so you got some 1200s?" He's like, yeah, man, I got 1200s in this mixer. And I'm like, damn, man. I said, man, can I come practice with you? And he was like, yeah, hell yeah. I didn't have a car at the time, and he used to come from he lived in Bell Gardens. He used to come from Bell Gardens and pick me up.
That's crazy.
And we used to go back to his house, and we would sit there and cut together. And he knew some stuff too. I don't want to say like I taught him how to DJ, but there was things that I like. Oh, you should try to do it like this, dog. And you know, there was things that I knew that he didn't know, right? So we were like sharing. And then he had records I didn't have. So I remember he had Back in Black from Back in Black. That was so much fun, and I was like, "Damn, I don't got these records. These are dope, bro!" Like, and so he had a lot of records like that. But when I met Muggs, he was in a little 1-bedroom with his mom's. I mean, not a 1-bedroom, like a 2-bedroom, but he had his 1-bedroom, and it was just a mattress. It wasn't even like the 2 mattresses. It was like one little mattress, and it was a dresser and the 2 turntables and the mixer and records. That's all he had in the room. It was crazy. I was like, damn, this your room, bro? Like, that's all he did. Like, it seemed like that's all he did.
That's hip-hop, though, humble beginnings.
Yeah, he had humble beginnings, bro. Muggs came from, like, straight, just like I said, just basically.
I know I follow Muggs since early.
Since
his early
so then I brought him to the
career,
block.
man.
Once I got to know him, I was like, hey, you smoke weed? He's like, yeah, I smoke weed here and there. I said, oh, cool, man, you need to come to the block. I'm gonna bring you on Cypress. You can meet the homies. And so then I brought him on Cypress, and that's when I introduced him to Muggs and Be Real and Sendog and a Mellow Man Ace and my other boy Tomahawk Funk from Funk Dubious, Tyrone. And so we all started.
The whole clique.
The whole clique. We started kind of kicking it, you know what I mean? And then I did the first demo for them at Muggs' house. He had a little recorder, and I said, hey, Muggs, there's this guy that I met, man. I think he could get us like a record. I was doing these shows with the guy named Jesse Jess. He was from a group called Fast Lane, and they had a song called Young ladies drive me crazy. Do 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 do. It was like one of them up tempo like techno records. So he came out here and I started doing shows DJing for him. And I was still in high school at the time. And then he knew somebody, and that's when I went over there and I was like, he's like, yeah, man, bring your friends. And I brought Be Real, Sendog, Mellow Man Ace, and I think Tomahawk Funk, and we did like one take. Houdini Friends and like 5 minutes of funk, and we had like these routines because when I was doing backyard parties, they would bring a mic and we had like a routine. Like we had like at the end of my mix, I would do Jekyll and Hyde, the Genius of Love Rap, Genius Rap, the instrumental. So they would know like I would have like, hey, when I do this, then you come in, Tyrone, and Sendog. When I cut it out here, that's your intro. So that's how they would know. So we used to have little backyard parties, and that nobody was seeing that back then, like in Southgate. They were like, damn, what the fuck is this? Like, because they were into new wave and disco and other kind of shit. They weren't into hip hop like that. It was so new, but we were doing it in backyard parties in my senior year, and that's how, like I said, later on, Muggs came, and then we started making those demos, and then he started hanging out on the block. Then I got on 1580K, and he stayed on the block, and that's how they started forming Cypress Hill. You know what I mean? So yeah, we all go way back to breakdancing.
So you was around when. So did he have his first record out before the 783 record?
Yeah, 783.
He didn't have 783 yet. Like this is before that. This 783 came a little later, and so 783 came a little later, and then that was kind of the beginning where we started like somebody was doing something, and then Mellow Man Ace calls me when I'm like, I think I just got out of 1580K Day, or maybe right before. He calls me, and he says, hey, I got this record deal, but I don't really know, like, I'm kind of stuck. Like, you know how it is, Eiht.
Right.
You put an album together, sounds easy.
Hey,
let's put an album together.
Exactly.
All right, cool. Let's start working on some songs. But that don't mean that. That's still trying to put an album together. Nobody knew. We were new. We were so fresh. We didn't have no idea. Who do you do? What song?
You got to have a little guidance.
Right, got it. You need some guidance, right? So I tell Mello, I go, oh, okay. I go, hey, unknown DJ. He had just gotten helped Tony get an SP1200. And he had it at the house. And Tony started showing me, this is bad to be. He probably had it for like 2 weeks. And I tell Mellow Man, I said, hey, let's go. You should come see Tony G, man. He be producing. And he's like, Tony G, the DJ? I said, yeah, man. Oh, man, he be producing. I'm lying. I'm putting the extras on it. I didn't even know Tony could produce. I just knew he showed me the drum machine. He was hitting notes on it. And so he comes over. I bring him over. I said, hey, Tony, I'm going to bring this guy over that I went to high school with. And so I brought him over, and then the first song they did was Rhyme Fighter. And then from then on, and Tony ended up finishing that album that gave Mentirosa. And then the B side of Mentirosa was a really big hit, club hit called Welcome to My Groove. And so we had a dope Steve Silk Hurley remix of it that really blew us up. A lot of people don't know that Mellow Mayonnaise Mentirosa was big, but so was the club song. The other club song we used to do so many shows just because of that song too. And so that's kind of how that's how we ended up doing. That's how that kind of came about. You know what I mean? When I took him to Tony's house, and me and Tony had just got our 1580K day, and that was like the next thing we did.
Man,
coming out of there.
Did you ever look back and because those guys wound up becoming one of the biggest hip hop groups of the world, man. Cypress Hill.
Yeah.
Man, shout out B-Real. I just talked to B-Real, last week. He just did a song for me. So I still talk to B-Real. Like, certain dudes you can pick up the phone, like,
for
you
sure.
know, but and then we've always had this stipulation because, you know, we've had other, you know, we've had other essay performers on our show, whatever, and they seem to think that it's some kind of blockage against Chicano rap. But in our days, we banged Cypress Hill.
Yeah.
I banged Kid Frost.
You were on the second album.
Exactly.
You're on like a classic, bro.
I'm on like 2 songs with
and
B.
you were
I'm on Throw Your
early.
Hands in the Air and Prelude to a Come Up.
Everybody listen to
And
Cypress Hill, bro.
heavyweights. And heavyweights.
And
later.
heavyweights.
Heavyweights later.
Muggs produced about 3-4 songs on my Last Man Standing album.
You know what?
So I've never had the stipulation that it's been something, you know, with the problem between black and Chicano rap or whatever. Because, like I said, in my days of coming up, I banged the hell out of Cypress Hill, Kid Frost, Mentirosa,
You know
Mellow
what's
Man
crazy? You say that,
Eiht, Lighter Shade of
Shade of
Brown.
Brown,
Shit.
I think because we're in today's era, I think a lot of people have gotten so much. I really don't. It bothers me actually because we've done so much in hip hop. I don't like that.
Right.
You know, I don't like that there's this feeling that, like, I heard somebody not too long ago say like, the black rappers are holding somebody back. It's not true at all. No black rappers ever held us back. But the difference between us, so people can understand, because we don't get the credit for that either. We opened the Latino hip hop.
Oh, definitely.
Mellow Man is Mentirosa, and
But
La
see,
Raza was the same year.
But we didn't look at it. I
It
don't
didn't
know
have
if
that label on it, though.
I don't know if we
It was just
clarified
hip-hop.
it as
well, let me tell you.
like, because to
Not
me,
to us at the time.
it was hip
Hip-hop.
hop.
That's what I'm saying. It's just hip-hop.
But let me explain why I say that. When you did look at the covers, it was Mellow Mayonnaise in the Cuban hat.
Right.
It was us.
Oh,
When
definitely.
he had Kid Frost, you seen the look. It was a Chicano, Mexican. It was. So our thing was that, what I want to explain to people is that when me and Tony were doing these records, like Kid Frost, people don't know, was really because we were such a big fans of Public Enemy. That's why it was called Hispanic Causing Panic. We were trying to revolutionize our people in that way and give them something of not as deep and militant as Public Enemy, but we wanted to do that direction. That's why that album, the first album, is not about shooting motherfuckers and gang banging, and
Oh,
it's
no,
about
no.
us,
It's
our
about the
culture.
hood,
It's
the
a hood
Raza.
record.
Yeah,
it's a hood
definitely,
record.
yeah.
It talks hood shit, but it's not geared. What I mean is like on that kind of negative thing. Our thing is that because we came from 1580K Day, and let me say this now so people understand, hip hop is black culture. That's black music. I came up because my friend that was black put me on the funk, and I know disco and all that too from my
Right,
Mexican friends.
definitely.
But my black shit that I know, that's from my black friend. That
Right.
came from that. I'll never like deny that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't know why people have an issue because black people say, "Oh, we created hip hop." Yeah, you did. That's not we were in the mix there too, but
Right.
we're not going
Definitely.
to say we created it. Why would we ever say we created it? That's not our creation, bro. And you have to respect that. That's all you need to do with black people. Show them they respect. Dog, that's their shit. You know what I mean? Now, they're not saying you can't come in.
Oh, no,
They're
definitely.
not at
Yeah,
all, right?
definitely.
They never said that. They never made us feel like that. Me and Tony G, we was look, 1580K Day was pretty much 90% black. When we went to the dances, there wasn't no Hispanics doing no fucking hip hop. We were doing it in the 80s, bro. We were the three Mexicans in the club. It was all black people, dog. They never made us feel like that. They never ran us out of the parking lot or got off on us, stole our shit. They never did all that. It was always love. They respected when we got busy. They were, oh shit, y'all motherfuckers be killing it. Now when we came out doing our Latino thing, it is a respect thing to the black culture that we didn't want to copy your shit. We wanted
Right.
to bring our shit so you could say, hey man, that shit dope. Because that came from 1580K Day. We're original. We want to be original. So when we came up with these ideas, we're like, damn, we got to do it like this. Look, Mellow Man Ace Mentirosa was a different song. Tony's the one that told him, hey, why don't you flip it in Spanish and English? And he was like, I don't know, bro. Nah, man, trust me, bro. Because the Santana sample we used, that's going to touch people. La Raza was El Chicano, Viva Tirado. That was a really, really important song in the Mexican culture. So we knew as DJs, like, the audience will pick up that too. Like, oh man, that's El Chicano. Even if they don't like the rap, they're going to halfway
Right.
give it a chance,
Exactly.
right? So Mellow Man Ace Mentirosa, that's Santana. You got to change your evil ways. I mean, it's a fucking popular song. So
Yeah,
it's like
it's
a-
popular.
already. So we already worked. That's what our thing was. So I don't know. I never felt that no black people held us back. We actually they gave us a lot of love, dog. Like we would go places and people would just give it up. Oh man, he used to love Kid Frost. He got so much love from black community. Oh, I
Yeah.
love La Raza, homie.
That's my people.
Like gangsters would tell him,
Yeah.
oh, I love that song, Big Dog. That's my shit right there.
Bang
Like,
the shit
All the
out of that
homies I got,
motherfucker.
all the homies always got the Mexican homies around. That's just how
it's
It's always
we never
been
did
that
all
way.
that shit, man. We wasn't tripping. Now today's generation, I don't be liking that shit because it's just to me, it's like, man, y'all ruining our music. Like this is not
Right.
what this music is about, bro. Our music is about being dope. Now, if Eiht can get on with this dude, and they happen to be Mexican, hey, they even better, you know. But we're
Right.
not in here trying to. I never wanted to use that as some kind of way to. Oh, because I'm Hispanic, you gotta fuck with me. Oh, I'm Mexican, bro, so you gotta like me. No, that's not how it works. When I gotta get down on the dance floor and get down to doing some battling, that shit don't matter. That shit didn't matter, bro, because I broke dance against motherfucking white kids that got busy on me. I'm like, oh.
Exactly.
You know, and I had to go home and repractice. Hey, but it had nothing to do because he was white. He just happened to be white, but he was
That
dope. So I didn't
motherfucker
give
knew
a
how to
fuck about all
craft
that
his
shit.
skill. That's all
Yeah,
that
so
was.
we never been about that. We always got down with everybody, and you know, Eiht, just even in your career, how many times I supported your career, your music, and everything. We never been on no hater shit with that, and that's what I don't like that they're trying to bring into hip hop today. Y'all need to stop doing that, man. It's not about Mexicans and blacks, and it's like almost like y'all dragging that jailhouse shit and spreading it out
Right.
on it. Like, oh man, leave that shit over there, bro. Like, we don't need that. We need to work together. And if they don't work with you or don't fuck with you, or that's cool too. They might not like your shit, dog. And you got how many black rappers did I have to tell no, your shit whack?
Exactly.
Right? So it
Right.
don't matter if you
Got
black.
nothing
It
to
ain't
do
nothing
with
to
it.
do with
Got
it,
nothing
bro.
to do with color
Are you
lines.
dope or you not,
Your shit
bro?
just not good.
It's
Well,
not
you know
it.
what I think the problem is today, Julio? Back in the day, you had a criteria to get in the game. You just didn't go just put out a record. Like when I first got with Bobcat, dog, that Bobcat told me I was trash like 12, 13 times, and I had to keep going back. He would give me beats, but be like, no, that shit whack. You better go back and do it over. When I finally got on, it was because I had some tight shit.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't no thing. And even then, it was like, you might do a record, but then you might hear Eazy-E on that motherfucker next, or Cube or somebody.
Yeah.
It wasn't your record. You just
Yeah.
got the rap on that motherfucker.
Right.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? And I think it was just like that. I think motherfuckers got a sense of entitlement now, bro.
Yeah, I think they do, and I don't think people just. I don't know. I don't like I said. This ain't my generation, so I really can't really. I don't really want to be speaking in this generation. It's their business, however they want to do it.
Right.
But I'm just saying, in our time, we were about no color lines. When I did Cam's record, Whoop Whoop, a lot of people don't know Tony G, and well, I would say Tony G. I kind of co-produced that record, but that was really Tony G. But we had been working with Cam. We had recorded 5 songs for Cam, and the 6th one was Whoop Whoop.
Mm-hmm.
And when we used to record with Cam, he you know, we used to have these deep conversations, me and him, about the community, about what can we do to uplift my people, your people, how can we work together, how could we squash beefs, or, you know, not even squash beef, but how can we show that there is more unity with us. You know, Cam is like that, you know.
Right.
So, and I was like that too, so we clicked. That's why we've been friends for so long. And that's my bro. I love Cam.
I love Cam too. That's my dog.
He introduced me to the Nation of Islam. I ended up doing a lot of work with the Nation of Islam when it wasn't popular, but I did a lot of great work with them. And you know, but Cam, when he did Whoop Whoop, he said, the homie Cam back on the scene with the black and brown on the same team. And then the rest of it is talking shit about Ice Cube. But that beginning, that was like a a thing with us in that room, that me, Tony, and him, what he was telling us. Like, it was crazy when we recorded it because I knew, I said, damn, that's dope. He said that, like, the way he started it. And I knew what he meant because we had just got off this deep conversation about black and brown, and he put that in there. And I always appreciated that because that he was letting us know, I'm fucking with y'all. Like,
Exactly.
we were black and brown on the same team. Let's get this. So, and that's how we always supported Cam. We always, I always played his music. I've always been down with him, and whatever the Nation of Islam wanted to do, I always was there with them too. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I don't like all that stuff, man. I think, black and brown is a beautiful thing when we can get together with the right mindset people. It's not for everybody. You gotta have certain types of mindset of people that understand. Me, I grew up with black people. I'm from Linwood, dog.
Exactly.
I grew up. My best friend that got me into music was black. My next door neighbor was black. One across the 40-something years, and my neighbor's 2 houses down is still black for 40-something, 50 years. I've known. It's like,
Yeah, I grew
it's
up
not.
around
You
a
know
lot
how
of
it is, Eiht.
Mexicans,
It's just
too. I grew
in
up
our
in
time.
Compton
Yeah, you know, bro.
And growing up in Spooktown, half the neighborhood was CV70s, and half of them was, so I had a lot of Mexican
Yeah.
friends growing
Yeah,
up.
man, that's just
you
how it
get me?
was. So that's why people don't really understand how the hood works. They have a whole different, thing about it. And like I said, it's not my generation, but I don't like that stuff.
Now, you were around during a whole bunch of important records, Ladasa being one of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
What
Shit,
was
he did Automatic for me.
Yeah,
when I was
did.
on Who
Section
Bangin'
8,
with
yep.
Mac.
Section 80.
Julio did a lot of records for a lot of
Yeah.
people. What was you thinking when you first heard the NWA record?
Well, NWA I knew all those guys. Like, we already knew all those guys. So like when we were doing like World on Wheels, like CIA used to come and open for
That was
Wrecking
Cube's
Crew.
group.
Right.
Yeah. And they would do like 10 minutes, you know what I mean? And I knew Cube and I knew Jinx and I knew all those guys, because we were the mix masters. You got to remember, in the 80s, there was only a handful of us doing this. So we had to know each other because there was nobody else doing rap, bro. It was only a handful of us.
Yeah,
And-
a lot of our music was techno.
yeah, right. It was up-tempo techno, and,
Yes.
and it wasn't like it was the beginning, and So when I met Eazy in '87 at a Bell High School dance, and we were live on the radio doing 1580 KDA Friday Night Live, and he and I've said this story before, but I'll share it with you guys too. It was outside. It was in the summertime, so it was outside in the tennis court. So the turntables were behind the fence, and the whole tennis court was the dance floor. And so we were back here, and there was these classrooms back here. They let us use 2 of them like as little things to chill. And we had Roxanne Shante and Bobby Brown performing that night. And I remember looking over. I was DJing, and I looked over, and I seen if it was right over here. I seen this dude standing there, but it was Bell High School. That's all Mexicans over there.
Mm-hmm.
And those dancers were popular back then, right? Everybody from all over the cities would come to these Bell High School dances, just like Garfield. There were certain schools that they were popular. So that was one of them. So I looked over, I said, damn, who is this? I'm from Linwood. I'm like, man, who is this motherfucker? Like, you don't look like you're supposed to be around here. And I'll say this straight. I always tell people, the first time I seen Eazy-E, he looked just like what you think as Eazy-E. He had the fucking the nugget fucking thing. Had the shirt was clean, the hat, the curl. I mean, he just looked like a G. That's why I was like, who is
Looked
this?
like a D
but
boy.
like a deep, like a baller though, like gangster but baller. And that's when we noticed, man, who is this dude right here? Like, damn, he's like standing there, like he looked like straight up comp, like he's like a dope dealer. And then he finally came over. He took my shirt. Hey, what's up, man? He goes, hey, I got this record, man. Can you play it? And I'm like, I never had somebody come up to me at a dance. Like, they didn't come up. There wasn't, like I said, it wasn't a bunch of rappers just shooting records. So I'm like, hey, man, give me 1 second. I'm live on the air. So I play like another record, and he waited right there. And he went like, man, just at least listen to it. I said, all right, man, let me hear it. So I put a song on this turntable, and I got the headphone, and I just put this. I didn't play it. I just put it. And I played, cruising down the street in my 6'4", long the flakes, knocking the door, went to the bar to get some school, look at his out there stuff. Hey, man, this sounds like 6 in the morning. Right off rip. I knew that was what it was because I DJ, bro. So I knew 6 in the morning. Andre, unknown, my guy, bro. So I know all his shit. So he like, nah, that ain't no 6 in the morning. That's Boys in the Hood, man. Dr. Dre did that. And I'm like, oh, Dr. Dre did this? Oh, okay. I love Dre.
Mhm.
At the time, I grew up admiring Dr. Dre when I was a kid. I remember riding my bike. There was across the street from Sears back in the days by that Pep Boys used to be a record store. And me and my homeboy rode our bikes, and we were young, bro. And then like going into Compton on your bike back in them days, it's like, hey, let's get up in here, get this record, and get the fuck up.
treacherous,
Oh, it's
yeah.
treacherous. I saw CV3 right there on that side. And so we went in there, we got surgery. Came back to the
Oh
house.
my God.
Bro, we thought we was like, you know, so like
That
I
was the
said,
shit.
That was the first record I ever bought.
yeah, I mean,
surgery.
surgery.
Oh my God.
Oh man, bro,
nigga, that
I
shit
couldn't.
blew me away.
Just the scratching, we would just play it
just the
over and over,
scratching.
over and over. Play it again.
Fuck the rapping
Fuck the
and
rap. Ain't
shit.
give a fuck. We
The-
just can't.
the scratching was
we
just
tripping,
ultimate.
bro. So Dr. Dre was always like, you know, to this day, wonderful guy. Even back then, he was just always a wonderful guy. Taught me a lot of things back then when I was seeing him. But you know, that's how. Like when he said that, I'm like, oh, okay. And I played one verse of it. And then I stopped because we're live at a dance. Nobody heard this song, bro. Like, I had a fucking 1,000 people out here. I can't. And so, boom, I gave him a verse, and then I got out of it, and I played something else. Cool. So then I got off the turntables. I went into one of the rooms to get some whatever we were doing back there, and then I hear it again. And I'm like, because we never played records twice. It was a thing. Like, we don't want to play records twice, and if you play it, don't use it too early. We got to save that, you know what I mean? I hear cruising down the street, and my six, I look out. Hey, what the fuck? I look out because it stuck out the song. I look out, and here Eazy right there next to Tony G. I said, I mean, who is this motherfucker?
My nigga, like, he got to get that
He
market.
did,
in
man.
there.
I was like, man,
My
who
nigga,
is
like, I'm
this
hitting up
motherfucker?
every nigga that hit the turntable
Yeah,
tonight.
bro. So he got Tony to play like a verse or two of it. So that was the first time. I'm not sure. Maybe I mean Greg Mack is really responsible for making Boys in the Hood. I don't want to say I broke the record, or I don't know. It might have been the first time somebody heard it. I don't know, but really he's responsible for making that happen for him. But when they came, you know, I just think it was a shift. And let me keep it real with you. We as the mix masters accepted them. Because from one day, you know, World Class Wrecking Crew, they was up there doing the Fly and Cabbage
Yeah.
Patch. And next thing I know, here comes DJ Yella in a fucking khaki suit. I'm like, what? Like, oh, but we didn't trip off that. We
Yeah.
liked the music.
Because
The music-
Wrecking Crew, like,
They were dance, bro. It was a dance group.
I mean, it was a dance group,
was a
but
dance
they
group.
had the music that was
popping.
that was
Man, I kept the dance going, bro. That's what we
because,
needed.
like I said, our music around that time was dance music.
Yeah, it was, bro.
Techno
Cabbage
music.
Patch, Give Me Some Juice, Rockberry Jam,
Yep.
the Dream Team's in the House, Egypt. It was all these LA records, and they were popping. Don't get me wrong. Those were huge
Egypt
records.
was popping.
Popping. Dream Team popping. They were huge. But the shift came with Eazy when he started to like, and King T. You know, King T, when
yeah.
he dropped Payback Some Mother,
King
that
T,
changed the game.
Payback Some Mother, the coolest.
The coolest.
You better bring a gun.
Better bring a gun.
Unknown drop 6 in the morning.
6 in the morning, Dog in the Wax.
Dog in the Wax,
Yes,
you don't quit.
Yep, we used to play all
It
those.
started shifting right
It started
there.
shifting into like rap, but you got to remember, you know, that's why I say it started to move that direction, and I just think Eazy caught it at the right time, and I don't know the way he packaged it, man. I just think he just because he wasn't like super banging on.
He was a
50 Million.
marketing
No, it
genius.
was let me tell you what it was. It was a lot of hood shit going on at that time.
Oh, yeah, it
in
was
the
ignorant.
early
80s, bro.
80s.
80s.
It was cracking.
Oh, it was super cracking.
And I think because it started to get so cracking with the gangs, it was the perfect
It was,
time
bro.
to drop Boys in the Hood.
And Dope
because
Man.
everybody was about their gang and their
Yeah.
section.
Yeah.
You get me? Like, the culture started to evolve. Like, it'd been around, but our generation started growing up.
Yeah.
And the gang life was so visible and so, like, popularized in the early 80s. Niggas was like, nigga, I ain't wearing no sequin suits and shit. Nigga, khaki suits
Yeah.
and Cortez, nigga.
Yeah.
And I'm going on the block with my
Yeah.
Deuce 5.
Yeah.
And the music just fit the time.
And then
So-
you got to remember the lingo. Nobody was saying hood. Nobody was
No.
saying none of that. So that's what caught on to LA people because they were like, it related to them. And then just Eazy's voice. He sounded like a little kid. So it just sounded crazy, him just rapping.
I
the
thought
kind of
he
shit
was
saying.
16 for the
Me
longest.
too. We all thought he was a
He
little
used to
13,
tell
15.
people he was 15
Yeah,
years
he loved
old.
that. He loved that. He used to
He used
love
to
that.
tell people he was
Yeah.
15.
He was a marketing genius, that guy, man. I learned so much fucking with him, man. Like,
Yeah,
he-
I just think it was. God
and
damn,
Dre too, man. You got to give Dre. He was hot, bro. Before even NWA at the time, he was dropping. He was dropping motherfucking East New York LA rapper with Bobby Jimmy. That shit was on fire on the radio. You bet. Just Say No, and he had a lot of little records that Dre was dropping with people, and he just caught that, and he boom. And when NWA came, and Ice Cube too, man, you can't take none away from him. The Batarang, Mixmaster Spade.
It just started opening the door for the street culture of music, and then once it opened the door, it just blew the doors off to where
you could be LA.
Niggas was like, fuck some techno hop shit and dancing at parties, niggas. It was all about drive-bys, 40 ounces, and gangsters.
And what was happening around us, because that was happening around us. What you're hearing descriptions of these songs, crack was real, bro. Gangbanging was real.
It was
The
a different
AKs
time
was
back
real.
then.
Way different. I lived through that, bro. That's why I say even going into Compton, I used to go to Sears all the time with my mom. It was, Compton is Compton, dog. You can't take nothing away from it. So it was a depiction of the reality that was really actually happening. It wasn't no. I just think it was the way Eazy did it and Dre and the way they put it together, and it was just put together a certain way.
It was a nuclear bomb.
It was, man.
Really that went off. To be a young nigga riding around on your beach cruiser trying to think you was, I don't give a fuck where you from, Compton, Linwood, Watts, whatever. To hear a nigga talking about the boys in the hood is always hard. It just it was over with.
Yeah, bro.
Like,
it was.
It changed the whole culture of our
And that
music
record didn't even
scene.
go away. It stayed on the radio for a year, bro. Like it was like that popular, Boys in the Hood. We couldn't stop playing that record, bro. Gangster couldn't stop playing those records. Like
that was the real soundtrack to the neighborhood.
and then you don't. Then another thing, people don't remember. Remember, 1580K. I'm gonna take y'all back. I Ain't the One. Huge record on 1580. I Ain't the One. Cube killed him with that. And then Dope Man, huge on the radio.
Dope Man was huge.
Big on the radio because they're telling you, stay away from dope. And that was the beginning of where the Mexicans really felt something because Crazy D was at the end of that record. And that little piece, believe it or not, it had the Mexicans on Eazy-E, bro. And I tell you, and Eazy even himself used to tell me, damn, man, my Mexican fans is off the meter, bro. They used to buy so many.
To this day,
records,
Eazy-E still
for
got a
sure,
bunch
bro.
of.
Oh my
Eazy-E
God,
still
bro.
got a big
He's
Mexican
legendary
fan
with
base, huh?
Hispanics, bro. Oh my God, Mexicans in LA, they loved Eazy-E.
Oh,
he
yeah,
knew
definitely.
that. He knew that. That was his fan base. Like they loved him a lot. So and they bought a lot
But that
of his
was
music.
some of that shit, no color lines.
Yeah,
you
we
get me?
wasn't tripping on that. We was loving that shit. It was fun, bro. It
Man,
was
put
the shit.
Crazy D on the end of the record and have him talking.
Mr.
Yo,
Hey,
Mr.
Mr. Dope Man, I think you're asleep.
Yeah, that was
my sister and I.
Brilliance,
that
bro.
was prize
man,
right
motherfucking
there. Yeah.
Eazy-E was genius, bro. Eazy-E.
Yeah, that was genius.
He was genius,
That was
bro.
genius.
I'm gonna tell you something about Eazy-E. Speaking on that, when we were doing the Ruthless Radio show on 92.3 The Beat, we used to record like these commercials. And one day he said, "Hey Julio, go in there and say the end part." And I'm like, oh, I wasn't like talking like that. I was like, I DJ. I put the show together. That's all I was doing. Right? So, come on, man, just go in there, man, just say some shit at the end. And it took me a minute because I wasn't used to really doing that. And so he says, "Hey, how you say 92.3 The Beat in Spanish?" And I was like, 92.3. He goes, "Say that." I'm like, because he can hear me. I'm in the booth. He's outside. I'm like, "All right, Eazy, come on now." And he's like, "No, man, I'm serious, man. Say that shit." Oh, man, that shit sounds, come on, Eazy. Because, at 92.3, The Beat at the time was like more of a black radio station. And I came from Katy. I came from a black radio station. I was kind of like, I don't know, bro. I don't really know if that's, man, trust me, that's how you going to get the Latinos. And so I said, all right. I did it for him. And they played the commercial. They called me a few days later from the radio station. Hey, I just had met them. I only been working there for like maybe 3 weeks, you know. They go, "Hey, can you come in today and like voice some commercials? And can you do that thing where you said it in Spanish?" And I'm like, "Okay, I guess."
That became
So
a thing,
I went,
though.
yeah.
So
So I went.
Those punto tres.
Yeah, so I went over there, I did that, and Eazy heard it. And he called me. "Hey, man, how come they got your voice up here saying 92.3, man?" I said, "Oh, it's because they called me to do some commercials for him." He goes, "Oh, fuck that, Julio. They got to pay you." Fuck that. That's one thing about Eazy. He used to always be on my ass about that. Fuck that free shit, man. They got to pay you. And so he called them. Say, hey, man, y'all can't be getting my partner like that, man. That's his shit. Y'all gotta pay him. And so they started to begin like, okay, we're gonna figure out how to get you some money. And that's because of Eazy. But really, I owe him that because that's what changed the game for me. And that's what brought the Latino to 92.3 The Beat and why Power 106 got beat was because I brought them with that. Not only the Westside Radio and then Julio G, but when I would come on, it's 92.3, Julio G. That little stuff, believe it or not, I was bringing them one by one because they started to feel like
Like
oh,
they
shit,
belong.
like
Yes,
they belong.
indeed.
They had a space there. So that was really important, and that's how we ended up getting 92.3 The Beat. At that time, in my first year in '96, when I was full time, we ended up beating Power 106, and that was that was the whole thing with them. They wanted me to bring the Latino listeners. That's what they asked me to do.
Was that the beginning of you becoming a voice on radio?
Well, that happened after Eazy-E
personality?
passed away. When Eazy-E passed away, because I would talk like sometimes on the Ruthless Radio show, but I actually mixed more and kind of put the show together. And like kind of produced it, you know what I mean? And this goes here and this goes there. Make sure that yellow's mixed because at this time, make sure that this person says this. Kind of running it, you know what I mean? Because Eazy didn't really know that stuff. He just chilled and he just interviewed people with whatever he could do. But that was kind of what the whole thing was. But after he passed away, it was like, well, first of all, when we were at the hospital, his wife came over to me, and he hadn't passed away yet, but he was not good. And they had told us, we all knew now at this point. So we all went to the hospital. We were at Cedars-Sinai. And she came over to me and she was like, hey, Julio, like, I just want to take Ruthless Radio off the radio. I don't want to do, I want to do it. So I'm going to get these lawyers to call them. I said, no, Tamika, you don't got to do that. I'll take care of it. It's done. Show over. I'm telling you right now, I'll go to the radio station right now when I get out of here and it's over with. I wasn't even tripping off the radio show. I'm like, my homie's passing away over here, dog. And Eazy was a friend. He really was a friend to me. He wasn't like some dude I kicked it with and just because he's Eazy-E. He actually got very tight with me and Tony. He used to be at our house all the time, bro. The last picture he took alive, he took it with me. It was that Saturday night before he went to the hospital. I had that conversation with him outside, and he told me what's going on. Oh, man, my bronchitis acting up. I'm going to go to the doctor on Monday, and then I meet you at the studio Monday night because he used to come to our studio in El Monte. We had our own home studio. And so I went to the radio station and told them, hey, check this out. Ruthless Radio is over. And they were like, oh, no. They're like, no, we're like, we don't want it. Can we work with you? And I was like, nah, man, I wouldn't do that. I said, look, man, just give me a couple weeks to think about it. Because I wasn't a host. And so I was thinking, damn, who could I get to help me host this show in my head? And then finally Tony was like, hey, bro, stop bullshitting. Just get your ass up there and start talking. And I used to talk and run over here, do the mix, come back and talk. So I basically was doing that mix. I called it the Mixmaster Show after he passed away. And then that's where the radio station started like hearing me. Now, in the beginning, the real thing is that they wanted it to be Sway and me at the time. It was supposed to be Sway kind of leading it because he's more talkative. And then I was going to co-host with him and DJ it. And so right before, maybe like 2 weeks before we were about to start, me and Sway had already sat down and met a few times. We already were mapping it out. He calls me and he goes, hey, Julio, man, I'm so sorry, bro. Please don't be mad at me. But they offered me a morning show at KMEL. So I knew how money worked. Of course, that's way more money than some nighttime show in the LA. It's like, and hey, Sway, man, don't even trip, dog. Do you? No problem, man.
And that was the beginning of some legendary shit on his end.
And I knew it was big for him too. So I was like, I was gonna stop that. I'm like, man, Sway, man, don't even feel bad about it. But he felt bad. He called me like, man, Julio, man, I feel bad, bro, because I committed to this with you, and I feel bad that I'm just in a bad space, and I didn't want him to feel like that. Man, Sway, get your money, dog. I'm not tripping, man. Whatever. I go back to producing records. I ain't tripping, dog. And then they called me from the radio station like, hey, did you hear about Sway? I'm like, yeah, he told me. Okay, so you start in 2 weeks. And I'm like, me? Yeah, you start in 2 weeks. So people don't know that. I jumped right into that. I wasn't like radio DJ talker. I was a mixture cutter. I wasn't trying to be on the mic. I never liked my voice like that. That I got pushed into, and then I basically said, okay, I got to figure this out because the Baker Boys was hot, Theo was fucking hot, the Wake Up Show I just got into town. I had a lot of shit to deal with here. Like, where is my space? What am I gonna do? And that was an interesting first year. My mom gave me the advice. She told me before I left the house one day. She goes, "Hey," she could tell I was worried. "Hey, are you all right?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm good, Mom. It's just that it's my like first week or whatever." He goes, "Hey, why don't you just be you, and then it won't feel like a job? You in your head, you're trying to be something. Stop like." And it made me think, damn, I am thinking too much about Theo. Damn, I am thinking too much about Dinah Steele. Damn, I'm thinking too much about the John Lennon and the house party. I'm thinking too much of the Baker Boys. What am I doing? I'm trying to like, I was so nervous, I was trying, how do I feel? All right, just be you. And that really helped me out because that's what I ended up doing. I just like, I came with my own approach, and I think it was just so real. People just accepted it. And I got none but love for the black community because they supported me. That's why I don't like when I hear all this, oh, they're blocking. Man, bro, they ain't not blocking you. They gave me so much love, the black community. And my ratings, when I would see my ratings, that's where I knew. I'm like, damn, man, I had the Hispanics, but the blacks was up there. And so I was like, damn, they really got my back. So once or twice a year, I would always thank the black community for giving me that love. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. I know, you accepted me into a space and y'all let me get in. I appreciate that. And I think that's what they loved about the realness of it. Like, damn, that's why I tell people, you got to recognize, dog, there's nothing wrong. It don't diminish you. It actually makes you look right when you give props to what is right. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Do you understand, man, that you broke so many different acts through Westside Radio? Like,
Incredible,
I swear,
man.
the first time I heard Master P, this is how it went. I was in Warehouse Music in Lakewood, and I was reading the magazine, one of the magazines, and I saw an ad with him in there. 2 ads. He had 2 ads in that motherfucker. And I said, who is this motherfucker right here, man? The white suit with I don't know what he holding up, a piece of crack or something. And then I heard him on the radio with you, and I said, let me go buy this dude's shit to see how it sounds.
Yeah, I was the first one to do Master P.
And he
No
wound
Limit.
up blowing up.
Yeah, I did more. I broke Master P, No Limit, and then I broke Cash Money, and that was a really
True
big
story.
deal. Yeah, true story. That was a really really big deal. But Master P, I just liked Master P, but I wasn't like super like into his music like that. Like
I don't think
did
nobody was.
but I knew he had something because it goes back to the West Coast thing. He had something about him that I liked, and I always kept I would say like, I always kept a part of me that kept that open, and I credit that to Too Short, because I think people thought that Too Short was very simple rap in a way at the time. You know what I'm saying? At that time, they didn't say he was a lyricist, right?
No.
But I thought Too Short didn't need to be no lyricist. I just
Short
knew his
dope.
voice and what he was saying and how he was delivering it. That shit was just street shit. So I knew that the streets really fuck with certain things like that. So Master P, I thought of him like that. I said, you know what, Julio? This is gutter. You gotta take care of the gutter. There's gonna be some haters, but the gutter ones, they're gonna fuck with this dude. Especially because he was rapping over World Class Wrecking Crew to turn off the lights. So that's what got me like, that's gonna connect. Once again, the records that connect to people, right? So they're gonna love that because that's LA.
Right.
So, and that's how he slid in. And then one night, I had him bring them all. Mia X, C Murder, Silk the Shocker. I had them all. I played all they shit. And that's where they started to blow up at in LA. That's when, and I'll give him props, Master P, because he's always said the story. Julio G was the one that broke me. And I appreciate that because
the second biggest market in the country.
oh yeah, he blew after that, bro. When he used to come, he told me one day, man, when I used to come to LA, I always just come pick up checks from Priority. Nobody fuck with me out here. I never done interviews. Nobody knew me. And that's all he would do was come pick up checks and get back on the plane and leave. And that's why one day he happened to be at Priority, and my homegirl, she was a publicist there, and she was talking to him on the phone. And I go, oh, is that Master P? Hey, tell him to come to the show tonight. And he changed his flight and everything. Oh, I'm bringing the whole crew. I'm bringing Mia X. He came and brought all his shit. He was a real promoter. He was like an Eazy-E to me. Like, he was a real promoter, dude. Like, he promoted his artists and he was serious about it. But yeah, I broke a lot of people, like especially Westside Radio. It's like, I mean, I don't want to like just talk about anybody or nothing, but there's people that come out and they start taking a little more credit for the West Coast shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I kind of bothers me a little bit because I don't like people to rewrite history. It's like
Damn right.
nobody was fucking with the West Coast in LA. Let me say that right now. When I started in 1995, I started Westside Radio seriously in 1986. Where it really started was when that whole thing went down with Death Row and them at the Source Awards.
Right.
When all that went down, I was on that Saturday night, and I remember I went on the air and I said, I believe they were coming, like they were starting to come back to LA on the plane from that Source Awards, and I said, I don't want none of my West Coast artists to get off that plane and just be hearing shit that ain't from LA. Fuck that. So I did a whole hour on my show of straight West Coast. And that was kind of the beginning idea where I said, oh man, this, and then what happened is that a few months later, Ice Cube called me and he had tried to do a show called Westside Radio in the Bay, but he didn't realize how much work radio took. So he called me and he said, meet me in my office. I want to talk to you. I'm like, cool. So I went over there and he's like, hey, man, I got this show that I did. It's called Westside Radio, man, but I really can't fuck with it. But, man, are you interested in doing it? Would you want to do it? I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, I'll do it, shit. He goes, I'll come on the first show with you, and then I'll do an intro for you, and then I'll come on the first show, we'll start it, and then, that's why it's called Westside Radio. It's really behind Westside Connection. That's why it's called Westside Radio. It wasn't necessarily I came up with that. He gave me that. So I got to give Ice Cube his props. But he came on the first show, and from there on, I went for broke, and he just, every time he seen me, he just, you killing it, bro. You doing way more than I would have thought. You killed that, bro. Like, he used to always tell me that, like, man, you killed that, bro. Like, you killing it. Because, it spawned so many people. Because, look, MC Eiht didn't get radio play. Power 106 wasn't playing MC Eiht, bro.
No,
So,
not at all.
I will say this. Mariama Snyder, she added and put that record in rotation off for the money. That one record did get a lot of play on 92.3 The Beat.
Yeah, it did.
It was in rotation. Like, it was playing all day.
I
But
remember
Hood
that.
took me under, and then I started bringing back the older records, the Growing Up in the Hood, and I started all that on Westside Radio. I didn't just start from where I started. I went back and started bringing back records that didn't get no action, and started bringing Peace Treaty back and Black Superman and these guys back, like, into the mix with the newer shit too. So I was doing that, and I used to play the song with Eiht and Daz. I used to play Straight Up Menace. I used to play All for the Money all the time. I used to play Hood Took Me Under. I used to play motherfucking Gang Stories. I played Gang Stories, South Central Cartel. And so it's like, so that's why I say, certain people be saying like they were the West Coast this. Nobody was doing that before me, dog. The only reason Power 106 ever started to even think about fucking with West Coast like that was because we beat them. And they had to, because I got the streets.
And
They didn't
they
have the
started
streets,
really
bro.
they started really targeting the Hispanic audience.
And
Yes.
well, they're always
started
been,
really
been a
targeting-
Hispanic station. You got to remember that their demographic is Hispanic. It's not black, so they only deal with that. But I'm saying, in '95 or '96, when I got Westside Radio going, we went #1 that year, the station and Westside Radio, and so. Now, 97, 98, when, Damian Young comes in and they start singing, because that's why I say Damian sometimes he gets to start talking, and no disrespect to him, but he doesn't say it correctly. He says, oh, he went to Power 106 and he made, gangster rap cool. What? Bro, what are you talking about, dog? I've been done Westside Radio. I was. Okay, let me tell you like this. When the East Coast and West Coast beef was going down, who repped the West?
Julio
I
G.
did by myself because nobody else wanted to rep Tupac. When Hit 'Em Up, look, man, let me do it like this just to keep it real with you, bro. Because I know I was going to come on here and I just wanted to make sure that I don't just be capping and just saying things. This right here, these are different little tweets that I grabbed from people. I still remember the feeling when Julio G dropped Tupac's Hit 'Em Up for the first time. I was 12 years old. He became my favorite DJ after that. That night that he's talking about, I played Tupac Hit 'Em Up 8 times in a row. So, and then I'm so old. I remember when Julio G played Pac's Hit 'Em Up for the first time on Westside Radio while Above the Law was there. Facts. They were there. They was like, God, KMG was like, you ain't gonna do it again, are you, man? Fuck them, KMG. Boom, fuck that. And they were like, oh, my ass clutching them. They were there. They were going crazy,
That's crazy.
that night.
Rest in peace to the homie Go Mac.
Yeah, for sure. Gomac
Rest in
and
peace to
KMG.
KMG.
Yeah, that's my
KMG.
partner. That's my smoking
KMG.
partner.
For
Me
sure.
and Hutch, I've been friends with them for so long, dog. I love those. They're like family, dog. But they were having, but I wasn't supposed to do that. They didn't want me to play 92.3 to be begged me not to do that, bro. They're like, please don't. They knew I had the song because Johnny gave it to me. Johnny J, rest in peace. And he was like, please don't do that, man. Please don't. I said, yeah, no, I won't. Nah, don't worry about it, guys. I'm not gonna do shit. I was so West Coast, dog, and I was so fucking with our shit that I just it was us against them. I didn't care where the fuck the shit fell, and I wasn't scared to do that. But the Wake Up Show wasn't doing that. The Baker Boys weren't doing that. Theo wasn't doing that. None of these people was doing that. Not disrespect to them, they didn't want to smoke. They didn't want to deal with what was going on with the East Coast, West
You
Coast
was
shit.
for sure pushing the line with the gangster
Oh,
rap.
you
With the gangster rap.
No, Julio pushed the line as far as motherfuckers who were trying to get noticed, who had good music and who couldn't get
For
heard.
real.
You heard a lot of independent dudes from the West Coast who were on the come up, who wasn't getting their shine because we couldn't. You
I
know?
think, is you the first person to play 200 by Glasses?
I broke Gangsta Malone.
That's what I'm saying. I think, he broke
Bro,
Glasses
listen,
Malone. Like, thinking
Glasses
like,
Westside Radio, you
This
used
was
to
later.
hear.
This is later.
Yeah.
You're talking about Westside Radio in the 90s. With Glasses, this is when I went at 93.5 Katie, and I
Yeah.
heard a whole new Bishop Lamont came through me. Glasses came through me. J-Rock came through me, dog. J-Rock and TDE started with me. So
I'm
I
already
don't
knowing.
know. I don't know what other people are saying because other people have came out and said, "Oh, well, TDE." Whoa.
I was running with Top and them at the time. They was going up there
Yeah. Let me tell you something, dog.
because he was the only one fucking with TDE for a
Yeah,
minute.
I started
He was the, he was the
Bro,
only one fucking with him.
when I put J-Rock on Lift Me Up, that was another record. I was a Sunday night when I was doing Westside Radio Sundays on this time, and I played that record 15 times in a row. I never had done that. I just wanted to fuck with them because I just wanted Watts to get on. I just had to stamp it in their ear that this gonna happen. Because I was trying to get Watts on. That's why I fucked with Glasses. And I had my other friend Dro from Grape. And then I had J-Rock and them with the Nickersons. So my thing was I was telling all of them, hey, I know y'all got beef with each other, but when we doing this music shit, we gotta roll. Like I need y'all to be. And they were all cool. They actually got around each other. We never had no issues. They all knew what the purpose was. Look, man, we gotta get this going. I need the West to blow. And they were with it, you know. So yeah, they started with me. Same with K-Dot. He came through J-Rock. I met him first. I met J-Rock first, but he introduced me to K-Dot.
K-Dot was J-Rock's hype man during the time.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you a story about that. When I met J-Rock the first time, I'm trying to find this. There's a song that Kendrick Lamar did. Kendrick Lamar, K-Dot, Don't Do It, featuring Julio G. Okay, he did a song that I'm in because I used to say on the radio, don't do it to him, K-Dot, every time I would play J-Rock. That was my way of kind of introducing him because he didn't have no music. But I liked him. The first time I met J-Rock, he was with K-Dot. And he told me like this, man, Julio G, thank you so much for everything you've done for me, man. You had no idea, man. Like, the hood, man, the whole Nickersons went crazy. And, man, this is my little homie. He's K-Dot. He goes, I'm dope. But this dude's the truth. First time, bro. And I was like, oh, okay. Never had a rapper do that. So that I want people to know that. J-Rock never hated on K-Dot, bro. Never blocked, never tried. He didn't have to do that. He was the star to me. He's the dude I'm playing. And but hey, homie, this dude's the truth. And that's what made me say, okay, what's up with your name? K-Dot, okay, little homie. All right, don't do it to him, K-Dot. So he became like his little homie. So that's how I got them going. And then I saved one of them DJs from Power 106, bro. He was going to get got from these dudes. Mind you, I now blow them up. Not only am I playing it 15 times the first time, I kept playing the record. So now Warner Brothers got attention on them. They come to me, Top and them, and like, hey, can you come out to Warner Brothers with us? Because, you know, they were new to the game. They didn't really know what was happening like that. Can you come up there? Because we want to see if you would consult for us. Because they wanted to kind of tell Warner Brothers, like, we got Julio G, like, you know, he gonna come help us, right? So I went over there, we sat down, they played me some songs, and I said, J-Rock, you need to find somebody to mix your songs. Your songs are just, they're not there, like, sound-wise, sonically. That's why they got Ali.
Yep, that's
Because
what I was going to say.
Top
Ali,
listened to me
yeah.
from the first day. He listened to me. You need to have a cohesive sound, and you have like a sound that's like up. They didn't know that. They weren't paying attention to like, oh shit, he right. I didn't think about it like that. But that's what I used to produce records, so I understand. So that's, you know, I gave them so much love basically, right? And then Warner Brothers was happy, so they thought, oh shit, if Julio G playing us like this, I know these motherfuckers gonna play us. So when they went up to Power 106, they was like, and they didn't know what that was. They were new to the game, dog. So they were like, they called me one day because I was consulting them. They called me one day. I was getting off work. Hey, Julio G, man, can you believe we went up to Power 106, man? They gave us this big-ass run around and shit, fucked around and played us like we were suckers, man. They said, but don't trip. We finna snatch this motherfucker up. And right when I heard that, I said, hey, hey, bro, listen to me, dog. You don't want to do that. And I'm going to tell you why. They're nerds. You put your fingers and hands on them, dog. It tells all the rest of the DJs across the country. And I don't mean to say in a disrespectful way, nerds. I'm just saying you're not on the level of Nickerson Garden bounty hunters, bro. You have no understanding. When they say, I'm going to snatch your ass up, that's not a good, you don't want that, right? So, and that was my guy, too. And I don't want to say who he was, but he was my guy in a way, too. So I felt for him. I knew that wasn't his thing. He's not from L.A. like that.
I knew who that was.
Yeah, so I don't want to say who it is, you know what I mean? But they was gonna get him, dog. And I told him, please, bro, don't do that. That's gonna ruin you, man, because they don't make. Hey, man. Look, I remember when Game got into it with some DJ somewhere in D.C. or something. That kind of fucked him up, bro. Believe it or not, this shit got back to me. But it was like, hey, man, you gonna fuck with that dude? DJs know each other, bro. We talk. Rappers don't know that, but we all do talk.
Yeah, you can't put your hands on no DJ.
Yeah, because once they feel that you did that to one person, then you think they want to have you on their radio.
Man, they go stick together too.
If you start stomping somebody out, you think you're gonna come on my radio show? I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna skip that because I don't want to. Who's this crazy motherfucker? I ain't trying to deal with no knucklehead. Like, that's what they're. And I'm from this hood, dog. So I should be able to at least have some halfway. I dealt with a lot of knuckleheads, but you think somebody from Burbank is gonna be able to understand it? They're not, bro. So, they were very lucky over there that I was nice enough to like, and I'm glad that those guys started out because they're who they are today, and they have a good relationship with them over there now. So I'm glad that it did work out because it almost went left on them in the beginning.
Man, during that time too, Top wasn't playing, man. He was. I tell everybody, man, it's a different level of relentlessness that he had when he came in. Like, that dude had more determination than anybody I've ever seen in my life. I'm gonna tell you a funny story, man. Me and Glasses down there in Louisiana, we on the bus with Bird, man. Top calls me before I get on the bus and say, when you go in front of Bird, man, I want you to put that nigga on the phone and just let him know I could talk to him whenever I want to. My phone died. Man, that dude Top wouldn't talk to me for a week, and I finally said, nigga, how long you gonna be mad at me? And he just laughed.
Nah, he's a good dude. I love him,
he's a
man.
good dude.
Him, Punch, all those guys, man. They were solid dudes. And I'm glad to see their success, man, because they
deserve
work,
it, dog.
Man, they worked hard.
They
when I
deserve
got
it.
off the radio at 93.5 KD, I felt kind of bad because I had kind of gotten them going. Like, we were almost about to break the whole thing, and then I got off. So that kind of stumbled everybody, and they had to kind of regroup and started dropping mixtapes and kind of get the whole thing back going again. But there was a point where, shit, I had Bishop, I had Glasses going, I had J-Rock, K-Dot was just about to drop, Topic, who else did I? It was just a lot of different LA rappers that we was trying to, get on and get going. But yeah, you need that in LA, you know what I mean? That's why Westside Radio was important in the 90s because it established a lot of these guys that, imagine if I wouldn't have been on Westside Radio, it would have been, them records would have just never came out and been nothing, and never would have been, forgotten about, and nobody would have really understood how to play a Spice One or how to play Selly Cell, and those records, they used to come to me all the time and tell me like, man, why are you playing that for? And then I'll be like, bro, you don't have no understanding of LA music and how the hood works. And one thing I will say too is like, I didn't play diss records on Westside Radio. Against each.
Exactly.
I played calling out names. They talking shit about New York motherfuckers. I didn't give a fuck. But there was no Dre Day. Definitely not the one with Quick that that he did towards you. I didn't play the Duck Six. I didn't play because I never wanted us to be beefing with each other. I didn't want to do that.
I think because you understood the potential ramifications of what
Absolutely.
could happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's why.
Being
bro.
from the hood, being from Linwood,
Yeah, I know.
knowing the connections.
I know
of Compton and Long Beach
Man,
and
all
Watts
that-
and
come on,
LA.
dog, come on.
Niggas was really about
And they were listening.
niggas was really about gangbanging.
Gangbanging.
And niggas was listening to the radio.
Yeah.
And niggas would step to you.
Oh, yeah.
Nigga, you played that record. Oh, you played that record, Julio? Or you played that record. So it was good to stay neutral.
Oh, yeah. I
right?
didn't want none of that.
Like, I get it, it's records and it's radio. radio,
Yeah,
but
but-
I'm not gonna play Quick song. I'm not gonna play
Nope.
they song. I'm not
Nope.
gonna play 8 song.
Nope.
I'm not gonna play this song. I'm not
He
gonna
was fair
play
about it
Cube
across the
against
board.
Cam. I'm not gonna do none of that because we already know what the ramifications
Yeah.
be. Look at what happened
Yeah.
with my sister D and Dre and Cube and Pump It Up. You
Yeah.
get me?
Yeah.
Niggas is watching.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that was-
Oh, you let that nigga go on there and say that?
okay.
Oh, okay. We
Okay.
got you.
All right.
And that's like you said, that's gonna happen to the DJs.
Now listen. Now think about it like this. I always tell people this too. If I was like these guys are today with the clicks and the this and that. Imagine if I was on Westside Radio and I'm like,
Man.
oh, damn, Eiht, you gonna let them talk to you like that?
Yeah.
That would have got me heavy ratings.
Niggas got
They
you.
would have been
Yeah, that
tuned in.
content would've
They
been
would have been
on.
on me.
It would've been
right?
cracking.
But the reason why is because like he said, I grew up in the hood like that, and I know Compton. I know his neighborhood. I know people from his neighborhood. I know people from his rival neighborhoods. It's serious there, bro.
Oh,
that
yeah.
beef with him and DJ Quick was way deeper than people can even ever imagine. Fuck the records, bro.
Yeah.
That shit was complicated in Compton. So any little, and then they're tuned into me. If I would have came and said some stupid, I would have never done that. But I wouldn't have never played. I don't just out of just nah, homie. I can't do that because we don't want
Streets was
that.
vicious.
It was vicious,
Yeah,
bro.
the streets-
Vicious.
That's where I be telling people about being in that situation of trying to transition to being an artist, coming up out of the gang life in the streets. It was hard, man, because you're still looked upon as you that Crip that blood nigga. I don't give a fuck because you got a hit record on a nigga.
Exactly.
I went to elementary with you. You was claiming so and so, or it's hard to bypass that.
And it's worse that you are known because now it's like, oh,
Now
fuck
it's
you
like-
for real.
yeah,
Fuck
yeah.
him because
Now it's like
now
you
it
gotta-
means something.
You gotta watch your
Yeah,
back.
bro,
You gotta
I'm
roll
telling you.
around with straps because when you still in and I said, I was still going to Compton. My first 3-4 albums, I was still
Still in
on the
Compton.
block.
Yeah.
Like I didn't give a fuck because I got a #1 song and the fucking video is cracking and nigga, this gang beef. It wasn't no hip hop record. This was a gang beef.
Yeah.
Straight up. So it like I tell niggas don't know the you get other MCs or other beefs and they're looked upon differently. I said, but when you talk about beefs in LA with rappers,
That was a serious
it
beef.
was
bro.
serious
It was
beef
very
because
serious.
niggas was getting
They didn't know.
niggas was dying.
Yeah, they didn't know
niggas
that.
was getting shot at.
Yeah.
Niggas was getting hurt.
Yeah, man.
It wasn't no record, no LL Cool J, Cool Mo D.
No,
Like,
hell no.
nigga, this was like, nigga, okay, fuck that record, nigga. I see you in the streets.
yeah.
I'm gonna dump on
Yeah,
you. I'm
especially
because
you know, it's an extra stripe.
and that's
for it.
extra, like you
For
said.
sure.
Now you got extra curiosity. You got to be extra cautious
Yeah.
because, like you said, now you known.
Yeah, now you
Like,
know, so now it's on.
You on videos, you on fucking records. Niggas are seeing you in magazines, and nigga, you standing around the corner in the neighborhood right now, and niggas know it.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go through there right
let's go
now.
through
See
there,
if
see
them
if we
niggas
can
is
catch
over
'em.
there
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
no, real talk.
You had all of that.
I don't know if you remember this, Eiht, but when we recorded that song for your Section 80 album, we did Automatic. We went and recorded. Well, how that even happened was that me and Fred Reck used to live in the same building, apartment building. He was right across from me, so I would go pop in there, and he had his drum machines and all that stuff on there. So one day he was like, "Hey, let's make a beat," and so I pulled out that guitar. I said, "I just heard this record the other day, man. Let's sample this." And we started and we made the beat for Automatic. This is before you heard it and all. We just had it. It was like in a pack that he had. So he calls me. He's like, "Hey, MC Eiht wants to do that beat we did." I said, "Oh, for real? Oh, yeah." He goes, "Meet me at the studio. We're going to go record it." Okay. So we go to the studio. We recorded 3 songs, and one of them being Automatic, right? And I want to tell the audience this about MC Eiht. That session is where I had a whole other respect for you, Eiht, when it came to rapping. Like, I listened to you as MC Eiht, and yeah, I respect your music, and I like what it was, and I was with it. But I didn't look at you like a MC like that, like until that day. And then I remember driving the night. I left to go to work because I was going to work that day. I was driving down Cahuenga. I forgot where we recorded it, but I was coming down Cahuenga, and I remember saying to myself, "Damn, dumb motherfucker, he's called MC Eiht, stupid ass motherfucker." Like, I was telling myself that. That's why he's called MC Eiht. This is a real fucking MC.
yeah.
From that point on of that session, I put you in the category of Nas, Jay, Scarface, Cube, all that. Like all that.
And he
'Cause,
probably wrote the verse in like 5
bro,
minutes
it
or some
wasn't
shit
even
like that.
We go in there. I never seen no, and I used to record people. I recorded a lot of people in my studio. I have my own studio, right? We go in there. He does the first song. He does the 3 verses in 1 take.
That's
And I'm talking about the
That's
attitude, the pronunciation, the attitude. Because I'm listening and he's going because I'm ready to say, all right, hold on, man, take it back, hey, can you say that word? Because I'm used to doing that with artists. Oh, hey, Frost, man, just say that one word a little bit different because the way you. All right, cool, take it back. You know, because I used to record Frost a lot, so he was like, well, we were just like that, you know. So I said, damn, he just did the 3 fucking verses, fuck. And it was the attitude, Eiht. You just jumped right into it, and it was like, the attitude was perfect, bro. It was like, damn. Then he went back and did the ad-lib. 1 take. Then he did another ad-lib and filled in these pieces. I was just in my head, I'm like, how the fuck is this guy doing this, bro? Because it was almost like he was designing the verse, and now it's starting to become even doper. I'm like, oh, shit, now that he dropped these, oh, shit. So then that's it. Song done. He gonna put the next one up. He does the next one. All 3 fucking verses again. I was like, oh my God, I can't. I almost had thought like, I can't believe I'm watching this. This is impossible.
I don't believe in wasting niggas' time.
Everybody trips up.
I never seen somebody do it like
I
that.
don't believe in wasting
You
niggas'
did
time.
the 3 songs, the only one.
Yeah, just let the song
Let it go.
Let's
And
just
then
let it go.
Just go.
Just
and
let
so
it
he
go.
let the ad libs, the whole shit. And then the 3rd
I'm gonna
one.
do the first verse. I'm gonna let the hooks, whatever. Then I'm gonna come in with the 2nd verse. Then I'm gonna come in with the 3rd verse. Then I'm gonna say take it all the way back to the top. Then I'm
Run
gonna
it
run
back.
through the whole thing.
Basically,
again.
3 songs in 30 minutes. At least.
Yeah.
It was that fast. And I said, damn, I just was like, this is fucking
Now I'm
mind
gonna leave y'all
blowing,
to
bro.
y'all job. I'm
Yes,
finna go the
you
fuck
know.
home. I'm finna go
So
the fuck
but,
home.
but the reason I bring this story up is because it goes back to Quick. So I don't know if you remember this, but that day we went out into the little outside room, and I went out and I told Eiht, I said, hey, Eiht, man, like, I'm really, because look, after the East Coast, West Coast beef, and then when Biggie got killed, we weren't good on the West. It was hard.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, because I was on the radio. I was trying to find any record to get us. They just didn't like us, dog. They just they
didn't.
wasn't really tripping in the beginning. Them first couple years was hard, like 97, 98, 99. It was
Oh yeah.
Snoop had to push through with Be Please, and we had they wasn't really
They wasn't fucking with us.
They wasn't
on the
happy
radio.
with us. They wasn't like super happy with us, right? So now we're around 99, I think, when we did Section 80, and I was with Eiht, and I said, hey, Eiht, man, listen, man, we got to get past this beef, man. It's just been dragging on too fucking long, bro. Like, and I lied to Eiht. I told him, I talked to Quick. He said he'd be cool to squash it if you was cool with it. But, man, I just wanted to ask you, man, because I really don't know how deep, because I knew this is, like I said, I'm from that side of town, so I knew that this is way more than records. This is like a really street thing. So I didn't know. I had to check Eiht's temperature. I'm like, I don't know if he'll roll with it. And he said that. I said, yeah, man. I'm like, all right, you know what, man? All right, fuck it then. And then I went out. When I got out of there, I called Quick. Hey, Quick. And Quick was coming on Westside Radio that Friday. And I asked you to call in, and y'all squashed the beef on that call.
That's dope.
Yeah, and I wish I had the recording. It's on the tape somewhere, but that's how that went down.
And then a week later, we did. Snoop got us to go on Tavis Smiley.
There we
and
go.
then we got on Tavis
And
Smiley.
started moving from there. And that's how that whole thing, I don't know, that's why I say I'm glad I came to it, because I wanted to see if you remembered that, because that's how it all started.
That was
and
a good thing.
It was a good thing, because that's all I always try to do. I always try to squash beefs. Like when Daz and Corrupt had their beef, I was the one that jumped in there because they're both my friends. And I was like, come on, man, like I had to figure out how. I had Daz on the air, and I said, hey, man, you gonna talk to Corrupt or not, man? Like I'll make it happen, you know what I mean? Like, and he's like, oh, you know, he was kind of happy. But that started the conversation, and they'll tell you that. That's how they got back together, and they came back with Cali is Active. So it was always about, to me, I always wondered, I didn't like the negativity. I thought our music was too important, and we needed some of the beef because it charged our music up in a sense, but you know, at the same time, it's like, look, man,
our beefs, I think, got a little out of hand because of our backgrounds. You get me? And I was one of those dudes who always felt like, that's why I never try to alienate the other side with my music. You never heard me saying crip, 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 crip on records.
Yeah.
You
Or your
know,
hood. You didn't really bang out your hood like
because
that.
I wanted everybody to play my records. I wanted the Bloods to buy my records too, which was happening.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah.
I was getting played by everybody up
you had
until
love.
the beef started. But now, like I tell motherfuckers, now you making motherfuckers choose.
Yeah, you got the
what
fans.
they
They
gotta
got to
buy.
pick sides.
You get me? And as a fan, I go buy both you niggas records, Quick and Eiht. But as a gangbanger, now I gotta pick and choose. If I'm a Crip, I gotta buy the Crip record. If I'm a Blood, I gotta buy the Blood record. I can't be riding through the hood and a nigga sees Compton's Most Wanted on my seat.
Yeah.
I'ma get you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Nigga, what the fuck you doing
Yeah.
with that nigga taping yours? Vice versa.
It was so serious.
You a Crip and you in a Crip hood and you come bumping tonight. Niggas gonna get on your head. Nigga, the homie got beef with that nigga. You bumping this nigga music. So now you making fans pick and choose.
Pick and choose, yeah.
I want the whole fucking $30. You get me?
For sure.
I don't want just that one $14.99 from these niggas.
Right.
I want it from them.
Everybody, yeah.
And then I felt like that's what fucked us up.
Because
Now you making niggas when the whole city of Compton should be bumping us.
right. It's
Now
separated.
you separate.
Yeah.
Because now you got the Crips only wanting to bump the Crip nigga, and you got the Blood niggas wanting to bump the Blood niggas. And that's what's gonna happen technically, because that's just the demographics of how neighborhoods work.
Let me tell you something funny. You bring that up, man. One day I was on Westside Radio, and I used to program the show. You know, I like programmed everything that came out of there. I put together, right? So I'm taking phone calls and editing calls and playing songs and hitting the drop and looking at the time and all that's going on, right? I didn't realize I just played like 4 Crip songs in a row. So I used to answer my own phone.
Right.
That's what was cool about my show. Like people could call me. Like I had people that used to call me like every night after work. Hey, what's up, Julio G? What's happening, man? How you been, bro? Can you play this song, my wife? So they used to be comfortable with that. So I answered the phone and it's like, hey man, what's up, Julio G? Hey, what's going on? I could hear the homies in the background. Hey man, what's up with it, blood? Man, you done played 4 Crips in a row. Man, what's up with it, blood? Come on, man. We out here in the jungles right now, blood. You fucking us up. And I was like, I did? And I thought back, I go, oh shit, my bad, bro.
Yeah.
Oh man, what's your homie's name over there, man? Oh man, it's L-Ron and whoop-de-whoop and what? Okay, I'm gonna shout y'all out. And I had to play 3 or 4 fucking Blood songs in a row.
Yeah,
and that's how
politics.
serious it was. And from that
Politics,
day
yeah.
on, I had to be conscious of how I was playing and how I spread it out more.
How you
even,
gonna spread the love.
But it was
They got
that
to.
serious, bro.
Indeed.
It was that serious back then. Like they really
Yes,
was checking
indeed.
for stuff like that I didn't even pay attention to, man. So that was a great times, man. Absolutely, man.
Man,
indeed.
I know you running with Cypress Hill, man. I know you was heavy into the smoke, man, to the weed.
I've always been a weed
And
smoker,
you know, appreciate you coming to bless us, man,
Oh,
with
yeah.
this Los Angeles Kush,
LA
man.
Kush,
Man, you
man.
already
LA
see
Kush,
it.
You
man.
see that,
Y'all
right?
go get
Yeah.
that LA Kush,
LA
man.
Kush,
We
man.
got us some
You
good
got the
value,
real,
You know,
man.
4439 West Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles,
Oh
man.
no, that's our Hollywood store. We,
Oh,
we don't have that one no more. We got
okay.
it's East LA, LA
East
Kush.
LA,
You
man.
can find
East
it.
LA.
Come to East LA. Y'all
Yes,
already
sir.
know. Get
Yeah,
on your
it's for real.
Google. Get on your Google Maps. Get on your info. Whatever you need, man. Go take a visit. LA Kush, man. You
That's
know
right.
what
He
to do.
blessed us. I'm
Yeah.
about to feel good this weekend.
Yes, indeed.
How long you don't had this going on, man?
I've been working with LA Kush for maybe 10 years now.
10
Something
years.
like that, yeah.
That's dope, man.
Yeah, man. So I've been in the cannabis business doing that thing too. So, but that's something that I always have been doing since
Right.
way back. Like it's a lot of rap. Believe it or not, a lot of people that used to come on the radio show, especially from the East Coast, they used to just come through just because I had the weed.
Yeah.
Like just to be on. Oh, I want to come by and get an interview, but damn, you got any of that weed,
Yeah.
right?
They
used to-
especially the out of
them New Yorkers,
man.
them New Yorkers and Atlanta dudes.
nothing
and
like LA
Goody
weed
Mob
back in the
and-
day.
Oh
you
man,
know,
I
nothing.
always had good weed,
Yes,
bro. So it's
indeed.
like it's always they any rapper will tell you Snoop Dogg. I've smoked them all out, and they always been like, damn, where'd you get this? Like, but that's always been me. I was just always been like into and that actually I got to give credit to B-Real and Kid Frost because they were the first dudes that put me on to better weed. I used to smoke like street hood
Yeah,
weed.
yeah.
But then when it got more technical, it was with them. I'm like, oh shit, where'd you get that? Oh, this dude. So they'll introduce me to somebody, and that's how I started to like kind of find, just better
Yeah, my
weed.
nigga B Real's a real connoisseur.
Oh, he's for
when it
real, bro.
comes-
There's no question about that, bro. He's put me on
Shout
so
out
much,
Busy, man.
so much different weed, man. It's another level.
And before we get out of here, man, first of all, man, thank you for coming to sit
I
down with
appreciate
us,
it.
man.
Thank you, man.
And the Westside Radio is back.
I'm doing a podcast, yeah.
It's a
I'm doing
podcast,
yeah.
man.
I
That's
definitely wanted
cracking.
you to come on too
Oh, that's
one day.
cracking.
Yeah,
definitely.
I just started doing a Westside Radio podcast, but once again, it's a little bit of everything, because I like to talk a little bit to everybody, because I really do enjoy interviewing people. But I'm doing it like really just to kind of document our LA history, because I think like our LA history is not documented enough, and I don't think like the OGs have really been able to speak. Like I'm hoping to get Bobcat on there one day. I just had Krista Glove Taylor and Exhibit came
That's
on
dope.
the other day, and then Fred Rec came through, and then I had Kid Frost. He was my first one. That was dope because he has so much history, and a lot of people don't know how far back his history goes, the early '80s. Like
What's the YouTube channel? I'm gonna
it's,
share it too.
it's Westside Radio Online.
For
Westside,
sure.
You can
man,
find it
y'all
on
make sure y'all
y'all
go
peep that
subscribe.
out.
YouTube that,
Y'all
check
go
it out.
subscribe to that, man. And I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna put a link at the bottom.
Yeah,
I'll
thank
drop a
you.
link at the bottom.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you have the audio up of it too?
Yeah, I do the audio. It's on Apple and Spotify also.
Apple and Spotify, man. Y'all got to go bang.
And I'm thinking like it just depends, just because I'm working on a few things, but I do want to bring back Westside Radio in a radio form,
Right.
but in a mixture with some new stuff and some in our classic stuff.
That's what I've been talking about.
know.
I'm trying to get on the radio myself
Yeah.
with a show.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, we
Hey,
need
man.
it.
Yeah,
Hey,
we
man,
do.
talk about it.
Get
We
some
do.
of the heritage of our music,
Yeah, yeah,
cracking. You know,
yeah.
a lot of people gotta, go on these little streaming sites or whatever just to be able to get a dose of our music that created,
Yeah.
a lot of this.
Yeah.
I think we need it on a real actual.
And there's a
radio.
lot of history with the music
Yes,
that you don't
indeed.
really.
You ain't
get
never
to-
thought about going to go mess with Sirius or something like that?
I would do that. The thing about it is that it's nothing about them personally, because I like them over there and all that. It's just that it has to be the right freedom for me to do what I do.
Right.
I just don't like the people always ask me, "Oh, you should get back on the radio." Yeah, that's cool and all that, but the problem with the radio is just
It's restricted.
It's too restrictive, and it's just not like the old days where they used to like let me. The reason I was successful is because I programmed half my show. So if I would have just let them do it, I wouldn't have been successful like that.
Exactly.
Maybe
Yeah,
you
I
need to start
touch
that
it.
motherfucker up independently, man. Drop that motherfucker
Yeah,
on the
yeah, I'm
website
gonna
so
do
you let
something.
everybody in the world
Yeah,
where
I'm
they
gonna do
heard
something
that
with
motherfucker.
it,
Yes,
and
indeed.
I'm gonna do something with it, and I do want to bring it back. You know what I mean? And just to have some fun with the radio thing again. But I'll see what happens. But I'm hoping for later this year, maybe after the summertime, we'll get it up and running somewhere.
But man, we appreciate you falling
Yes,
through,
indeed.
man.
Oh, thank you
Osha,
for having
man.
me. I appreciate it, man. It's always a pleasure to be with you guys, man. I'm
All
such a
day,
fan of MC Eiht, man.
Yes, indeed.
For
Julio,
sure.
you already know what it is. Yes,
I-
indeed.
Hey, I want to ask you one thing, man. It's funny you brought this record up earlier. Man, I used to play that Cypress record with you all the time, from their Cypress Hill 4.
Mm-hmm.
The one that starts off, it creeps up.
Prelude to a come
Prelude
up.
to a come up.
Mhm.
Man, I used to bang that on Westside Radio. When I tell you, bro, I used to get so many people that would call me to ask me, what is that? Like, but I have to ask you, man, like, I never thought, DJ, because I know Muggs. Like, I've known him so long. He's such a hip hop dude.
Yes,
He's a
yes.
serious hip hop dude, right? And I just always tripped, like, you had such a great, like, connection with him. Like, the way you made, like, heavyweights was amazing, bro. Like,
I mean, it's just like what I did with Pete Rock on One Life to Live.
because you're an MC. That's what proves that, bro.
And that's my thing, Julio. I come from Compton, gang banging, all that walks of life. You would think that people would just keep you in the category of being that street dude, just talk about. But I pride myself on being an MC. I come from that era of MC Shan, KRS-One. Dudes were lyrical. And I prided myself on that. Even though I walked the streets of Compton and had to represent on that aspect, getting with dudes like Muggs, getting dudes with like Pete Rock, getting with dudes like Premier, they allow you to be what you are, and that's an MC first.
You weren't intimidated by that in any way when you would walk
Hell
in, like
no.
you hear like a more of a hip hop swing beat because
Hell no.
you just
I
rode that.
Man, go back, listen to songs like I Give Up Nothing on my first project. Listen to songs like, Eight is Enough off of Music to Drive By. They
that's
weren't
right.
talking about the hood or the block. Man, I'm just bussing because I prided myself on being a master of ceremony, Eric B. and Rakim. Those days, MCing was everything, man.
And that's all
You call
1580 K-Day.
You
That's
call
all
yourself a
1580.
MC,
Yeah.
It can't just be about, I got a pocket full of rocks and I'm on motherfucker. You got to be able to get on the motherfucking a beat that's unfamiliar, that you're uncomfortable with, and show your skills as an MC.
You know what's crazy that you say that because, and I want to ask you this because, so Ice-T gave me South Bronx from Boogie Down Productions before anybody ever heard it. And about maybe a month later, I got on 1580 K-Day, so I world premiered that basically. I started KRS Boogie Down Productions, right, South Bronx, and then Poetry and all that. But explain, man, explain how impactful that guy was, because when he dropped in LA, when he dropped Eiht, it was so. And I tell you this because you do something that reminds me of him a lot, and you adapted that where you pause and do things and because that was no more no less.
Yeah.
He had that when KRS came. At first, it was weird because everybody rapped like do right, and he was like I
was a very big KRS fan from the BDP days. From
the beginning.
From Criminal Minded.
Criminal Minded, dog, yeah.
Poetry, I used to play, man, I used to sit up and I used to just listen to that record over and over and over again because it amazed me how lyrical this dude was. Coming from listening to a lot of techno hop records and Electric Kingdom and all that type, to hear this dude speak, and I'm a poet. To listen is the teacher and the lesson. Classes in session, so you should stop. Man, that motherfucker was so goddamn hard, man.
And his delivery, his voice, the way, some of like the how would I say, like, what do you say, like, just the way it's just the projection. It's the projection he has, KRS One. He's just
he got a killer instinct too.
So let me explain like instructions to a game. See, now I'm not insane. In fact, I'm kind of rational. Man, that nigga was hard.
And you know what? Like, people didn't remember
that one, the white one or the black one.
You know what? A lot of people didn't really hear in the beginning too is like he was coming at Run DMC.
That nigga was hard.
He was coming at Run DMC. He was like, "Ain't no kings, this," and
the bridge is over.
Oh
and
my
all
God!
That. He was just hard, man.
The J, the I, the M, the M. Oh
nigga.
my God, bro.
He take MCing real serious. I don't know if y'all saw the verses.
Jack of Spades.
Jack of
I
Spades,
used to listen to everything.
Did y'all see the verses
did.
with him and Big Daddy Kane?
I don't know. I seen that one. No.
No, I love Big Daddy Kane, but KRS One was really out there trying to tear his head off.
That's what he does, bro.
He was out there really trying to battle.
He's a real performer,
this
bro.
dude is a performer. I saw him perform in Oakland one time at a showcase we was doing. That motherfucker's hard, man.
He's one of the best dude to ever do it.
So I prided myself on. That's why I came up with MC Eiht. I wanted to be an MC before anything. So I prided myself on that. I listened to the Rakims, even the Cubes, in the beginning. Niggas was just lyrical. And I just felt like, even though I'm from Compton and I'm, trying to be the block and the strap and whatever, I was like, nah, man. And then, I was big on words and lyricism and shit, because those were the guys that stood out. You get me?
For sure, man. We could do this all motherfucking night, man. Because I feel like we could go another 2 hours, man.
Oh man, I go
history.
All good things
got
good
history,
history, man.
When you got good history, man, shit can just go and go.
Hell
man.
yeah, we for sure, Julio. You definitely, man,
Nah,
got an
you. I
open
appreciate
door
it,
up here, man. You can come up here whenever you want
Thank
to,
you.
man.
Definitely, we got to do a part
Because
two.
there's so much. We got to do a part 2 because there's so much. And it's like all the stuff I got a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, because
it's like, you know what I mean?
It's the beginning. Julio was there in the beginning. I was there in the beginning. a lot of us, man, and you know, you don't get to hear those stories from dudes who really had connections with some of these forefathers who, you know, gave us our foundation. You know,
'Cause this-
stories of Eazy, the stories of the Mix Masters and M Walk and Julio.
And we just
all
touched
them,
on this
come
much
on.
of it. We ain't even got to like go on. Julio, you come back.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll do it.
Like,
bro.
so you might have to
Yeah.
come back,
Oh,
dog.
good. Good, I appreciate it.
Or we're
Thank you,
gonna have to
man.
go on his.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Ever,
Thank you,
man. But
thank
you
you.
need to open here, man. Seriously, whenever you want, man.
Yes, indeed.
And man, make sure y'all go bang that out, man. Go bang the homie shit, man. Go watch his shit. Go listen. Available on Spotify, iTunes, on YouTube. Y'all want to go watch it, man. He got some dope ass interviews. up there,
Westside Radio
man.
Online. Check it out.
Yeah.